Rarely has mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find intelligent species, ritual extirpation of undesirable beings, odors from another world, the rest must be destroyed. Is it possible that our dark past has repeated itself? Watch them and pray.
Goo readings, ladies, gentlemen, government agents, those of you successfully drinking at work today without being discovered, and anybody who might be listening. This is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. I'm your host, Tasker, and we have Nick.
Speaking of drinking at work, look, you guys, if you're doing that, okay, you have a problem. You got something going on at home. Maybe your wife is beating you. Maybe your kids left you. Maybe the dog died. I don't know what your problem is, but look, drinking at work and being a functional alcoholic is not the answer.
Yeah, well, we've had this discussion before about thresholds, about it's like jerking off in public. It's something where when you do it, you can't really go back from it. It's just because then you just keep making allowances more and more. So yeah, maybe drinking at work because you have a flask attached to a straw that goes up and in through your collar and then down your sleeve, so that way when you lean on your hand, you can take sips out of it. It's clever, but that's not good. You should do your job. Well, I don't know your life.
Well, look, if you're getting away with it, I guess it's okay.
Yeah. I remember I used to work at a restaurant, and a lot of the guys in the dish room would be like blasted all shift until one of them got discovered, in which case, yeah, that didn't end well for him.
No, it did not. But hey, look, you got a problem, get help, put the bottle down, or at least save it for when you get home. It's going to be just as tasty when you get home, if not better, because you waited for it.
Yeah, see, the thing is that I've never truly understood about sneaking like at work. I mean, like, unless you work at like fucking like, I don't know, like NBC, where I'm sure just everybody's doing it. But if it's like the risk doesn't feel worth it to me. I don't want to drink that badly to put my job on the line.
But it's something, though, we don't understand because we don't have that addiction. We don't have that problem. Like we've joked about us being alcoholics, right? But we were just in our early 20s. That's a different thing.
Right.
They literally can't function without alcohol. And to them, I say, you know what? Good for you. No, I mean, no. To them, I say,
you hear to hear, kids. Tell your friends and family what we taught you today.
But I did want to say something about the jerking off at work thing. That's different. Right. That's not a no-no. That's if you can get away with it, you're kind of on a God tier level, And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, look, everybody has urges. So if you need to dip your fingers in the honey pot, if you're a lady, or if you're a guy and you need to fap in the toilet, go for it.
Well, I mean, back when I was living in the dorms and you had no privacy ever, and because you live in a shoebox with another human, there's been times where I've been desperate enough, to do the old taking matters into your own hand, But the trick is you got to find those, like, it's those gender neutral stalls where it's just you get the whole room to yourself, and also be a gentleman, clean up after yourself, don't be fucking weird.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's bad enough that you're just wiping it up with toilet paper, and you're not, because you don't have Lysol and shit. Like, you're not going to carry around Lysol wipes, Oh
man, it's soap and water. They have paper towels, unless they don't, and that's what's wrong with this world.
True, but I mean, if you leave your jizz everywhere for other people to stumble upon, you're no better than a furry. Because remember, furries are into that shit. They love coming on elevators and just leaving it there for the next guy. Don't be like a furry. Clean up your cum.
Wow. We're doing some really hot takes today just to start off. And what a great way to start an episode where we're talking about something on Netflix.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of hot takes.
Uh-oh.
How about that in Taliban, huh?
Oh, God.
You give it 1 week of no U.S. occupation and they just fucking go for it.
Well, that's why, I'm so confused why everyone's like, oh, America's being pussy. It's like, dude, no matter what, it's like what we did didn't work.
Yeah. Because
like you said, the minute we pulled out, they just swooped right in.
We were there for 20 years, and the second we leave, they're like, well, that's over.
Yep. Jumping right back in. It's like, well, what the fuck else are we supposed to do? It's kind of like they're having their own civil war. They're having their thing. It's some hot takes going on, but the big thing that's been annoying me more than anything is the only thing I see in America is just people blaming each other. And it's like, dude, I kind of think the Taliban's the one at fault here. Like, I don't know. I don't blame Republicans for it. It's kind of like that's what happens, like these are people with a goal and a bunch of guns. So they're not just going to roll over and let us take them out. Like, they had a plan and then they utilized it, and then everyone just I don't know. I feel like when we argue, they win. So I think people need to chill the fuck out.
Right, because
this is a crisis like crazy, but we need to stop blaming each other.
Right, we need to stop attacking each other. We're being divided, probably on purpose, again, because that's what America loves to do. Oh, you have different views from me? This is all your fault. And now, while we're yelling at each other and talking about how liberals are cucks and Republicans are a bunch of racists, Taliban is now in control of Afghanistan. The president rescinded his power because what else are you gonna do when the Taliban strolls up and is like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here"? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, back when the Taliban first took power, I think it was in like 96 or something, or 92. They killed the last president, so that's why this one ran the fuck away, because he's like,
it's all you.
Read enough history to know where this goes, so bye.
Sucks. Shouldn't be laughing about it, but my God, what else are you gonna do? I can't just become Iron Man and Iron Man them. Remember in the first Iron Man when he gets his suit all up and loaded and he go kills a bunch of brown people? Yeah. We can't do that anymore.
Interesting way to phrase it, but yes, and that is considered to be one of the best Marvel movies ever, and it starts with that. Which is true, but yeah, let's for America, for everybody else, like, let's work on it. And I think it's a smart idea is, yes, let's get the evacuations, let's save as many people as possible first, and then let's outsmart them. Let's figure, because obviously going and brute forcing it obviously didn't fucking work. 20 years of it and it didn't fucking work.
We need to go undercover. We need to infiltrate Taliban. I will be the first one to do it. I will volunteer myself to go undercover.
See, the worry is that you'll just join them, and then that's the last we ever heard of you.
I was like, hey, you guys get AKs? Oh, you get Apache helicopters now? Oh, fuck yeah, all right.
Women that literally have to obey my every command or be executed? Hey.
You don't have to look at their faces? You can wear burqas or whatever? All right.
The point being here of this satirical conversation is that the Taliban is a fucking awful regime, and we're hoping for the best for the human rights that are being yoinked away, and that we hope that they can get out of there and people can get to safety, because, man, it's fucked up. This is wow. One day we're going to get sponsored, and this is the episode they're going to be like, yeah, you need to delete all of this.
Yeah. One day this is going to be gone. Yeah.
Yep. So enjoy it while it lasts, because next, I mean, if you listen to this and it's the year, we'll say 2025, and instead of talking about something upsetting, and we're talking about, like, something more docile, like, hey man, what's your opinion on adopting puppies?
I'm like, hey, I get him straight from the breeder because I want him as purebred as possible, for multiple reasons, but one, because I want it to be as retarded as possible.
Easy to train, or because they just don't do anything?
A little bit of both, because I need somebody who's going to do nothing with me because I don't really do anything. And purebreds don't have the mental capacity to do anything.
Interesting take. And if we've been discussing this subject now for over 10 minutes, we've been censored. So stay frosty, my friends. Anyways, let's do some horoscopes. The best way to get the vibe of the show before we start the show. You got something up and ready?
I got something going here. Let's see. Indecision may leave you standing at the station after all the trains have left, Cancer. Hop on one that's going in your direction. Add your name to the roster of active participants. Today isn't a day to wait for opportunity to come to you. If you see something you believe in, move toward it. Act spontaneously and don't worry about the consequences. All right. Well, hey, I got the green light.
Yeah. All right. Let's see where your impulse leads you today.
Taliban, man.
Yeah. God damn it. I love how you're going in with a noble cause, but
I'm going to infiltrate them. I'm going to eat them from the inside, dude. They'll never see me coming. Just some white Asian guy coming in. I'll look just like them. It's perfect. They'll never know.
Oh, and actually it would be really funny if you actually succeeded like with flying colors and become like a national hero.
Dude, I would love to do that. I would, because it makes me so fucking mad what they're doing over there.
Yeah.
I would love to be a national hero and do it. So I think that my horoscope is like, yo, hop on that train
You're
to
in the clear.
Afghanistan. They have trains to Afghanistan, right?
If you're on that continent, yes. I mean, no, because no, I don't know if the Bering Strait is still a thing you can do a train over, and plus you'd have to go through Russia, so I wouldn't recommend it.
All right, yeah, I'll just fly.
Yeah, good shit. Well, good luck to you, and make sure you plug the podcast when you're put on a national stage.
Yeah, by national stage, do you mean when they capture me and put me in one of those beheading videos? Be like, hey, let's check out close encounters of the podcast.
When they discover you on the first day.
Yeah, like, hey, what's this white guy doing here?
Wearing a fucking cannibal corpse t-shirt with a
have,
towel wrapped around his head.
like a turban. It's like, I don't even think they wear turbans. I don't know, man.
No, I don't know. Getting the outfit completely wrong. You don't speak a lick of like their language.
I just make up some bullshit, some like racist, racist accent.
What they did in Team America War Police. Where it's like, there's like, get him, boys. Frantically plugging the podcast on your beheading video. Oh, that's terrible. Oh my god.
Oh, I hope they don't hear this, man.
Oh man, it's so over for us if they find.
Anyway, let me do my stars. They're not looking very good, but I feel better than they look.
Yeah.
Sex is a 3 out of 5. Hustle is a 3 out of 5. Vibe is a 4 out of 5, and my success is a 2 out of 5.
Whew. Damn.
I mean, it could be worse.
Could be, yeah. Those definitely seem like hangover stars, though.
Dude, I've been drinking nonstop because I'm unemployed now. And somebody told me is when you don't have a job, you have to be drunk at night. Like it's it's in the Bible, I think. So I've been, drinking super hard the last couple nights, and I'm going to do it again tonight and go on VR chat. So yeah, I'm in a downward spiral.
Yeah. I mean, you get 1 week of it though, because you have something lined up to start up next week. So that's the beauty of what keeps it into a spiral into destruction is there's a end of the light, and you go back into the tunnel where you can't just drink all the time. So it's not a bender, it's a vacation.
That's you know what? Good point. That's how I'm going to look at it. So this week is going to be my own personal downward spiral, and then I'll just go right back to normal on the following Monday.
Yep. So we'll be surprised if you're in good talking shape on next week. So we'll see though.
Yeah, buddy. All right. Well, how's your horoscopes looking today? Are they telling you to join the Taliban too?
Hopefully not. Today is a significant day. Oh, God damn it.
Well,
yeah.
Giddy up, buddy.
Oh boy. Astrologically speaking, it's a significant day. Astrologically speaking, it may be an affirmation of your pioneering spirit. Be the champion of the new and bizarre. There's a window of opportunity opening to reveal a golden chance. Forces that seem to conflict may actually work well together. Remember to balance old traditions with new information. The integrations of these is key. It sounds like I'm coming with you, man.
Yikes. Looks like we're infiltrating together, buddy.
Yeah. And at this point too, it's just when we both get beheaded, we're just going to have to say like, remember our podcast, because we won't be able to make new episodes from that point onward.
Yeah, so at this point, we'll just have them cemented in history as the martyrs who died to try and take out the Taliban, and just listen to their podcast when they're dead.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe the money can go to our I don't know, our funeral costs or whatever.
Actually, I'm gonna have it go to a fund where all dog shelters get shut down. I'm going to create a fundraiser before I die. I want all dog shelters shut down so that way we can stop buying like mixed breeds and mutts and stuff, and we only are allowed to buy from certified breeders purebred dogs. I only want purebred dogs because other dogs are ruining the bloodlines and muddying them up.
Oh, wow. I noticed you've been shaving your mustache down bit by bit to almost a square in the middle under your nose.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. All right. Yeah. Some of these fucking mutts are shifty. All right.
Nick, podcaster, Dog Hitler.
Dog Hitler. Oh no.
Hey man, that's what your policies line up with. So I hope you're ready for that. History remembering you like that.
I'm ready.
I'm sure you are. Anyways, some stars. Sex is a 4 out of 5. Hustle's a 3 out of 5. Vibes a 3 out of 5. Success is a 4 out of 5. Stars are way better than what I'm feeling, which is shocking. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, because you're fucked right now, right?
Oh, I just woke up like half an hour ago, and it was like, oh fuck, like it's 1 p.m. So yeah, still kind of waking up, still doing the best I can. I had to take a cough drop. If you heard me kind of like sloshing around in my speech earlier, it is not because I'm still drunk.
He's practicing for later behind 7-Eleven. He's practicing his tongue swirls.
My usual stomping grounds, to get my pay.
That's right. You gotta make that money.
Fucking awful. So today's episode's a little bit different, though. We're trying something new because, we haven't been getting as much listens the past month, so we figured we need to start clout chasing more and piggybacking on other people's content to, what's it called? Steal? Yeah.
Yeah, we're basically, we are now the equivalent of a reaction channel on YouTube, all right?
Yeah, basically.
Nah, what's really going on is Tasker here. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I'd be surprised if some of you didn't know this. If you listen to us, there is a new show on Netflix. Now, normally when Netflix comes out with a new show that is about something that I'm relatively interested in, I brush it off because I know it's Netflix.
Right.
But I heard good things
fair.
about it. It's fair. Well, right? Because I'm not in the wrong to do that because it's a Netflix. It's a big corporation. It's not going to give us, any like truths, right?
Oh yeah, never. And especially with like what they've done to like existing shows and like that's why we have the meme, the Netflix adaptation, which is some shitty live action version of a cartoon that fucking sucks.
Exactly. So I normally brush it off, but I had heard good things about this new show, which is called excuse me, that's not called that. It's called Top Secret UFO Projects Declassified.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, another thing you might not know about Nick and I is that we tend to recommend a lot to each other and then never follow through with it.
Yes.
So this is an attempt on the show for Nick to recommend me something that I haven't watched because, I mean, don't get me wrong, like alien documentaries and shit are cool, but like I also am just like notoriously like terrible at like keeping up with modern day TV shows that are not anime. So
we all know. We know.
Yeah, so this is I don't know, because Nick was like, you should watch it. I'm like, no. Well, no, I didn't say no. I said I'll get to it like usual and never did. So, but Nick got to it, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
That's right. And so basically, I'm just going to be convincing him. First, I'm going to be going through the first episode of the show, a step-by-step of what they talk about. I'm going to give some commentary. Tasker's probably going to give some commentary, probably some negative Nancy bullshit, right? Like he usually does. And then I'm going to try and convince him to watch this show. Like I said, I normally brush off this Netflix shit, but I got to say, without giving too much away for the very end, I thoroughly enjoyed the first episode of the show.
So that's some good first words, because this is in order to so we can legally keep this episode online. This is like kind of like a review episode,
right? Exactly. I don't want Netflix knocking on my door saying, "Hey, our title is in your title." It's like that's why the review's on there, buddy. Fuck off.
Yep, exactly. We're citing our sources, and yeah, people can fucking do Netflix podcasts, so why can't we?
Yeah, and it's not like this is an every week thing. We're just trying something new, trying to keep it fresh, keep it groovy. I'm also trying to convince this asshole to watch the show. So help me out here.
Well, we'll see. Because yeah, at first we were going to try to compete with them and be like, we should out research them. But then we realized that like they had a whole team that made this. So we're like, okay, how about we just fucking review it instead?
Yeah, because like, I'm unemployed, but also I was drunk this last week. So I didn't have time to research all that shit.
Yeah, so it's a bit of an experiment this week, and we're going to see if it's good.
So with that being said, here's what you're going to do. Without further delay, sign into your Netflix accounts, sift through all of the other garbage on there, find all the dope shows and documentaries about aliens that are credible, because we're diving right in.
Head first.
All right. So like I said, first part of this episode is going to be me doing a play-by-play of the first episode itself, discuss the points, and then at the end, going to try and convince Tasker. It's a new segment we're going to call, will Tasker watch this? And we'll find out.
Well, what do they have? What is this show? And what are we jumping into?
All right. So the first episode of the show, which by the way, again, is entitled Top Secret UFO Projects Declassified. The first episode is called Project Blue Book Unknown. And by the title, you can probably guess what a majority of the episode is about. Take a guess.
Government cover-up.
Pretty much. Project Blue Book.
Yeah. So if it's Project something, it's not really a good sign unless it's like something coming from like, I don't know, like Bungie or Sony or Nintendo.
Yeah, that's true. Although we'll get into it. Project Blue Book started out innocently enough. But of course, like everything else in the government, it turned into a disinformation robot. So
ain't that the way?
Now, we have discussed Project Blue Book briefly a couple times in the past on different episodes, but with the help of this episode of this show, we can get more insight on what it was and what it did during its run. So this episode opens up by talking about how in November of 1944, the United States Night Fighter Squadron, which is, I looked it up. Okay. Oh, by the way, caveat here. I did do some like side research on certain parts, so some of the stuff won't be in there if you watch this episode because I had to like find some like surrounding information. So this is one of those things. Just a heads up. I did do a little bit of work. Okay, I didn't just sit there on my ass and eat Cheetos for the most part.
So we are still standing on our own 2 feet. We're not completely piggybacking the way.
Yes, I did some supplementary research, a little bit.
Well, that's great because now if any of you go and watch the episode, now you know a little bit more.
That's right. So I am better. We're better than Netflix, boys.
There we go. We did it. We fucking did it. We just had to jack all their research first.
We need somewhere to start, you know?
Yep, exactly. Great artist steal is what they say.
So this Night Fighter Squadron, which is now an inactive Air Force fighter jet unit during World War II, spotted something in the skies while they were out on a mission. Now, these somethings would be eventually given the name Foo Fighters, which would eventually turn into the names Flying Saucer, Flying Disc, UFO, and also a mediocre rock band.
They're definitely Grammy winning.
They're Grammy winning, but Grammys don't be. I'm pretty sure Cardi B's getting Grammys too, and she can fuck off. You know what I mean? So,
well, that's an argument for another day. But I see your point.
Anyway, so yeah, and let's talk more about this. Dave Grohl definitely rode on the coattails of Kurt Cobain, made his own band, and basically uses suicide as like a vaulting pole. So anyway, so
that's not true at all. Dave Grohl is an amazing musician and a great guy.
Yeah,
so
and he has no chin. All right, no jaw, no chin. That's why he has a beard. You ever seen him? He looks like a fucking Muppet. All right,
scraping the bottom of the barrel, man. You're really trying to find something bad about Dave Grohl.
I already did.
Unreal.
All right.
Get out of here.
So this is the first time in recorded modern history that something unusual has been going on in the skies, and military has been taking note, right? The Air Force. And the Air Force has a lot to do with this episode, as you'll see. So that happens in World War II. Then the show jumps forward a year and talks about how in May of 1945, World War II ended on the Western Front, aka the European Front, right? So we're fighting. So for those of you who are either 12, retarded, or not history buffs, World War II was fought on 2 fronts. We have the Western and the Eastern Front, okay? The Western Front was your European front with like Germany and the Axis, or most of the Axis is going to be in fucking Europe, right?
Europe.
The Eastern Front, that's where the Japs are, right? That's where they were. Okay. Pretty much just a really angry island over there that hooked up with Germany. So,
pretty impressive though, that they managed to like be their own front. Like that's how much of a threat they were.
I mean, hey, we brought the war to them because they bombed Pearl Harbor. with their kamikazes, and I'm not talking about the shot. And those assholes, dude, I'm so pissed, dude. I'm going to, I'm visiting family in Hawaii in a couple weeks, and I'm scared.
You have a lot of strong feelings about Pearl Harbor. I've noted over the course of our show.
Yeah, I mean, it was devastating. It was the most tragic day in United States history.
I'm just surprised at how like you're being very historical today. It's like you're dropping facts, you're explaining things, and yeah, man, what happened? Maybe this drinking's good for you.
maybe it's changed something in me.
Just activated a chemical concoction in your brain.
I'm drinking as much as Winston Churchill used to, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
I could see it. I could see you got the Churchill in you.
But anyway, so in May of 1945, the Western Front War is over. Hitler allegedly killed himself, and we started freeing people from the concentration camps. Okay.
Now, real quick,
Yes.
Hitler killing himself being like a maybe. Is that like a deep like dive we could like go into someday? Or
Absolutely.
Is that just sort of Oh, okay. Yeah. I'd be interested in doing an episode on that.
We could 100%. There's enough information out there to do an episode on that, and a lot of offensive jokes to do. So let's do it. Well, actually, I have an idea. How about what if we do now, of course, we're planning the podcast on the podcast, but what if we did around December 7th, somewhere around December 7th this year, we could do an episode on Hitler, because that was somewhat World War II related, because that was Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, well, if you don't feel like it'll be in that bad of well, no, it'll be in good taste, because it's when Hitler died, and we're going to talk about and just rail on him for a whole episode. I think that's respectful from the country we come from.
Yeah, I think so as well. So, like we said, Europe war's over. However, the Japanese were still kind of being uppity, right? Those like sneaky, right? They're shifty and they're ninja-like, you know.
Not necessarily. It's also part of the fact that the religion at the time had their emperor basically being their god. So they staked basically their whole religious belief on winning the war, in short. So no, they weren't going to give up.
Yes, they should have, because on the 6th and 9th of August, 1945, the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were nuked, respectively, and very hard.
Oh, I thought you said respectfully for a second. I'm like, that was not respectful.
It was quite honorable.
Sure, you're lucky you can say this. You know, no, to remind anybody who's just now listening, Nick is in fact Asian, and that's why he can get away with this.
And I hate myself.
His voice, yeah, by his voice, you probably can't tell it. So before you're like, oh, this is fucking white guy, thinking he knows, like, you know, this is me just, you know, damage control as usual.
I mean, it's just, thank you for, I appreciate that, because people need to know they weren't going to give up. We made them give up, because we're like, look, we're going to take out 2 cities in like 2 fell swoops. And we did. And now we have anime. So something happened there.
Oh my God. It's, look, I think they were working on animation before. I don't think the nukes had anything to do with it. It was devastating and incredibly sad to the civilians and all that stuff, and the people who were not necessarily involved with all the bullshit going on. And they're still feeling you know, fucking Japan's not doing too hot either themselves nowadays. You know, the aging of Japan. You heard about that?
The what? The
aging of Japan. Like 40-30% of their population is over the age of 60. That's bad. That's a lot of old folks, and that means they're not having enough kids to counterbalance the population.
Look, I'm not a sociologist, but maybe I could put my 2 cents in real quick on what's going on in Japan. First, I wonder how easy it is to have children when you work 13-hour days, 7 days a week, and if you leave any earlier than that, you're shunned because you live in an honorable society. Also, when they do get off work, they just go out drinking and doing karaoke and shit. What are the kids going to do for like 20 hours?
Yeah, well, and that's how they say a lot of their shows and like anime takes place in high school, because not just because they're into that shit like super hard, which I'm sure some people are anyways, but that's like the last time in your life you're really allowed to be like at whatever you want. Because once you fulfill and I mean, I don't live in Japan. This is just from what I've learned and what I've been told, is that like once you start working in the workforce, like after college or like all that stuff, it's like you're a cog in the machine. That's it. There's a phrase called the nail that sticks out is the first to be hammered down.
Yeah. So yeah, Japan sounds like a great place to raise kids. Sounds really fun, man.
Oh yeah. Well, and everyone, they're just, like you said, everyone's just working their ass off. They're like, dude, I don't want a fucking kid. Like, and also if you get married, like I said, this is just from what I've been told on the offhand. When you're a woman, you just relinquish all your freedom. You are now like basically, you're not like the man's property, but you got to fucking listen to like everything he says and stuff like that. It's like,
Because it's
a big
most
deal.
honorable.
Something like that. Culturally, it's something like that. But anyways, that's a lot of speculation on the status of Japan right now. But yeah, they got nuked. It was bad. And what comes after that when it comes to aliens? We got really off track.
Okay, all right. So in the show, after they talk about the bombings in Japan, that's when that war ends. But it also does something else, because since this time in history, the show explains, more and more nuclear and atomic interest has been sprouting up all over the world, which is a fact. That is 100% true.
Well, yeah, we saw it in action and what it can do. Like that. No wonder everyone's like, holy shit, I want one.
Yeah, everybody's like a kid in a candy store. They're like, give me some plutonium, please. Nations that could and can make nukes will definitely make them, and they have been making them, right? It's the arms race. It's the Cold War. Which will come into play here in a second. And it's big. So since that time, when we fuck them up hard, we've been fucking ourselves up, all right?
Yeah.
Now, since this time period, an increase in UFO sightings has taken place. That is also a fact. And it heavily implies that when we started splitting atoms and blowing each other up, the aliens started to get kind of interested in what the fuck's going on over here. All right.
That's interesting though too, because I know especially with like splitting the atom and like nuclear like fallout and all that stuff, it leaves a track and it does not go away for a very long time. So any advanced species, I'm sure that's knows what that's all about beyond our knowledge of it. I'm sure to a point it's like, oh, what the fuck's going on here?
They're like, they got their like their alien binocular or their telescope out in their ship. They're like, hey, something's going on over on Earth. They're like, what? I was like, I don't know. They just blew up a fucking country. Like, oh, maybe we should go check that out.
Yeah, that's new.
So that's essentially what was happening. Before World War II, we weren't really getting any UFO sightings. I mean, you could say people in the Bible saw shit and all this dumb shit. But the fact of the matter is, reported and documented UFO sightings increased a lot after World War II. Okay.
Interesting.
Now, this is something that we have speculated about before, and it's literally nothing new in the UFO community, right? There's a clear correlation between nukes and UFO sightings in the late 1940s. Now, we know that correlation does not mean causation, but my God, it's pretty close in this case.
Yeah, there's some points where it's dots are starting to be connected in some way or another.
Right. So after they talk about that, then it's like, bwah, 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 right? The opening title, it was actually fucking cool. All right. The opening title looked like some cheesy 90s, like X-Files shit. And it was right up my alley. I loved it.
So, okay, they got a good appeal. And see, that's why we're only reviewing the first episode, because 30 minutes into the episode, we're just getting to the opening title.
Yeah, dude. I only watched one episode, and this is going to be a longish episode, and it's all from it. And they did a really good job, but we'll get more into that later.
Okay.
So after the opening title, they start to discuss Kenneth Arnold and his famous UFO sighting in Washington, something that we have also covered on this show very briefly before, and I believe it was the first Men in Black episode.
Mm-hmm.
The show was claiming that since this sighting by Kenneth on June 27th, 1947, this is where the terms flying saucer and flying disc were coined and or popularized. That's what the show said. I'm not 100% sure, because the origins of those types of terms are hard to track down. But I'm going to just go with, because we're doing the review of the show, I'm going with what they said.
Well, it's pre-internet viral, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. So it could have been from this. It could have been from something else, but they're saying it's this.
Yeah.
Now, it's said that after this sighting, sightings and incidents revolving around UFOs began to increase even more so. And the show then goes on to give an example, a famous one, right? Perhaps the most famous one, the Roswell, New Mexico incident.
Ooh, yeah, that's the big one we're saving for a good day.
Exactly. We're not going to go into the whole thing. The show doesn't even go into the whole thing because they expect anybody who clicks on a show like this one to know about it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm expecting from you guys as well. So, but there is a portion of it that they talk about that I think is interesting. So this incident, as we know, took place only about a month after Kenneth's UFO sighting. It took place in July of 1947. The show then discusses a man named Major Jesse Marcel Sr. For those of you who have ever, and Tasker probably even has seen this, for those of you who have ever looked into the Roswell incident, you have probably seen that photo of the man in military uniform holding up a piece of what looks like tinfoil, like thick tinfoil.
I don't think I have. Let me look it up real quick. Man with tinfoil. Okay, yeah, he's like kneeling out. He's like kind of like squatting.
Yep.
Okay.
That is Major Jesse Marcel Sr. right there in that picture. Okay. So if you guys want to put a face to the name, that's the dude right there. So he was actually one of the first from the military / government on the scene of the crash in Roswell. That's why he's a big player in this story. So while they're doing the investigation, getting a perimeter set up, making sure nobody comes in or out, he actually straight up fucking stole a piece of something out of the crash ship and took it home to show his son, Jesse Marcel Jr. Okay.
That's a good dad.
It is a great dad. If my dad was in that position, I'd be fucking disappointed if he didn't come home with a souvenir. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. If you got kids out there and you're working for the military, you know what you need to do.
You steal alien technology. The next day, the newspaper puts out a story like straight up about a UFO crashing in the deserts of New Mexico. They said it was something about flying saucer crash in desert, no cover up, no. Oh, maybe it was my dick. Maybe it was a clown car. No, none of that. It was like straight up. Hey, there was a UFO that crashed here. Yes, last night.
Wow. Yeah. And I guess that's why Roswell's such a popular subject, is because they didn't even try to bullshit you, or they were just like, fucking UFO, man. Like, that's what happened.
Yeah. They did. The press did. But then, of course, the government was not very happy about that.
Imagine.
And they shut it down. They started shutting everything down. So the first thing they did is they ordered a lockdown on anything and anyone who had anything to do with the crash that day. So that includes the newspaper, the press, any of the military personnel that were there. Basically called all of them back, including Major Marcel. And they called him back and they're like, look, what you guys saw, whatever it wasn't what you think it was. So here's the news story. It was a weather balloon. We're going to do a... That's what they said.
Your favorite, man. Your favorite.
I fucking hate that. I can't stand it. So the government was like, look, tell them it's a weather balloon. We're doing a photo shoot with some tinfoil, which they did. That's the pictures that you're looking at.
Oh.
And they're like, okay, now we're going to print this photo in a new news story the next day saying, oh, JK, wasn't a UFO, it was a weather balloon. Here's the picture of the weather balloon. And you fucking tell me when a weather balloon looked like tinfoil. All right. First off. And second of all, the government has big balls, dude, because they called everybody back and they were just like, nah, just tell them that you were trolling them. And the newspaper's like, okay.
Sure, man. Wow.
So that was like the first major official government cover up that is 100% covered up, like a fact.
Got it. And of course, we'll get more in depth on this stuff when we do our eventual deep dive on Roswell, which might not be a bad 100th episode idea.
Yeah, because we could do it streaming in a tub.
Yep, it'd be great. You can see our bulges and my pot belly and balding head and everything.
I'm gonna be full naked, dude.
Yeah, just you can catch the episode streaming on Pornhub. And hey, man, if we're streaming there, we can literally do anything.
Anything.
Damn, like we could literally like be actively being blown, like and recording the episode.
Yeah, or I could do anal beads, whatever, man.
Yeah, the whole thing, and like spread cheeks and all, and it'll be totally fine.
I have this trick I can do where I'll put one set of anal beads up my butt and the other one in my mouth, and I can use my stomach to tie them in a knot and pull them out my butt.
Wow, that's that's quite a feat. I'm wondering why you haven't made a career out of this.
Because it hurts every time.
Yeah, because it's not fun.
Because I get pink sock every time I pull it out.
Oh, good God!
Just Google. Everybody out there listening, just Google pink sock real quick.
It's not a good idea, but hey, if you're curious, help yourself. So, anyways, faked weather balloon. That's what that picture is, though, right?
Yep. Exactly. So they did a full-on photo shoot. Newspaper put out a new thing the next day, and they're like, "Oopsie whoopsie, right? We made a fucky wucky. It was just a weather balloon."
Yeah.
So Major Marcel, he had to go along with the whole thing with that photo shoot. That's why he's in that photo. And I'm assuming, and this is one of the only times I'm going to like speculate on what they're telling us. And I'm going to speculate it's probably because it was under threat of death or like CBT or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the government's pretty good at threatening people, I think, or making them, it's that old classic, like, yeah, suicide by 2 bullets to the back of the head,
Exactly. Yep. Get suicided. So he went along with it naturally. I don't know. We don't know what happened to that piece that he brought home to his son to look at. Probably got confiscated. I don't know if he still had it, but his son doesn't have it. His son, they got an interview clip from his son for the documentary.
Okay.
And he didn't say anything about still having it. So.
Okay. Well, it's good that the son is still alive. I thought they would take him out first.
Collateral.
Yep. Cover up damages.
Now, as we expect, the government covered this shit up hard, super hard, but for what reason, right? Now, this is something else they didn't really talk about in the documentary, but it's a good question, something we can think about more in our deep dive when we do Roswell. So we'll get into that eventually.
Okay.
But one thing is for damn sure, right? It caught the attention of somebody in the government. Because in the midst of the late 1940s UFO chaos, and especially after Roswell and the follow-up cover-up, the Pentagon worked with the United States Air Force and they're putting a team together. They're getting a team together.
Gathering the boys. Which, fun fact, I know I've brought this up before, but Kurosawa's Seven Samurai was the first ensemble action film that set up basically every ensemble action film from that point onward. Like, Fast and Furious, like, we got to build a team. Yeah, that's just Seven Samurai.
So I have the Avengers. So I have the Avengers because I had anime.
It wasn't anime. It was a black and white movie with actors. Kurosawa is like one of the most legendary directors of all time.
Japanese people don't make real movies, do they?
Yeah, unless you think it's just a photorealistically drawn animated film, in which case it would be even more of an achievement.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a great movie if you got 3 hours to kill. But like, yeah, literally in terms of like how narratively a story progresses and how the team like fights through their differences, like, yeah, Avengers is more or less just a copycat Seven Samurai, except instead of being samurai, they're superheroes.
Was there a hot one?
They in Seven Samurai,
right? Because there's a hot one in Avengers. I
mean, it depends. If you like Japanese men, then I'm sure there is. I think there was. I think there was a hot one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say because Chris Evans, man, goddamn,
he's pretty fine. He's America's ass, as they say.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson can go fuck off. You know what I mean?
Well, now she literally is fucking off. Disney just dropped her because she tried to sue them.
Yeah, well, I don't blame her. But
yeah.
I read up on that. Yeah, it sucks. She got fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, look, the first iteration of this team that they were putting together was Project Sign. Now, this is something that we've talked about before, guys. It was a long time ago. I think it was like episode 7. It was on the Hynek scale episode, but we did talk about this briefly, okay? The first iteration was Project Sign. Then it evolved eventually into Project Grudge. And finally, we come to the final iteration, Project Blue Book. I will be calling it PBB every once in a while just to sound cool and like abbreviated, okay?
Abbreviations always make things feel more legitimate.
PBB.
PBB.
You down with PBB? Yeah, you know me.
Yes. Sounds like some shitty 90s like ad that would run on after SpongeBob.
Okay, so now that we have Project Blue Book created, operational, the show begins to talk about the July 1952 incident where 7 UFOs were spotted flying around the White House. Okay, now this is a very prevalent case from the files of the PBB. This story came to be when air traffic controller Edward Nugent spotted 7 anomalies on his radar screen. And these objects were definitely within bounds of unauthorized airspace, because if you're flying above the Capitol, you're probably in unauthorized airspace. This same thing was spotted and confirmed by 2 other controllers and their radars in the same facility. But at a nearby Air Force base, airmen there also reported seeing lights in the sky resembling fireballs.
Not a great thing you want to see in the sky.
No, especially if it's above the White House. That's no bueno.
Yeah, that's going to set off some alarms for sure.
They also described the objects as being able to move in ways they had never seen aircraft move before, right? They were just zipping about. They were going zip, zap, zoom, bop.
What?
Just like when you put the pill in there and it fizzles and it fizzles and a whistle.
The best part is when you're doing your anal beads through your entire digestive tract, you actually do it with a Cosby impression the whole time. God, gross. Oh, God. Worth every penny.
Okay, so now this exact same thing, again, was confirmed by a commercial pilot waiting for takeoff in an airplane at the DC airport. So, like, he was literally on the runway waiting to take off, and he's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, yikes.
Now, enter a man named Edward J. Rupelt. Okay, he was the most, I would say, decorated, how do I want to put it? He was the most prevalent director and commander of Project Blue Book during its runtime.
Yeah.
Now, strangely enough, which is super weird, he wasn't made aware of these happenings around the White House with the UFOs until much later after the incident. And now they didn't really say why. They kind of skipped over that part. I'm guessing it's because it caught everybody off guard. When do you expect something like that to happen at the Capitol, right?
Right.
But as the objects began to pass over the actual White House and seemed like, obviously it seemed like a direct threat of some kind, F-94 Starfire jet fighters were scrambled at the nearby Air Force base. But as they took flight and began to try and make way to the Capitol, objects just disappeared, as UFOs do.
Yeah. Okay. I know this is like a dumb question, but when they tell the jets to scramble, that doesn't mean that you just take off and go wherever. Do they have orders, or is that what that means?
They have orders. So scrambling, just when you're scrambling jets, it means you're acquiring like a squadron to take off somewhere and go do something. Like and by scramble, normally they use that as like a colloquial term because it's supposed to be like there's a pressing matter, like something urgent came up.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense because. Okay, so it's a lot less chaotic than it sounds.
Right. Like they know what they're doing and what they're supposed to be doing, but they need to do it pronto. That's what the scramble part means.
I see. It's the urgency.
Yep.
Okay.
Good question. Not a stupid question. It's because when I first heard that when I was younger, I thought they were talking about eggs and shit. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I just have this image in my head of just planes just like taking off and just shooting off.
Where do I go? Where's the mission?
Fucking hell. I hope I don't hit anybody.
Then the show goes on to talk about how literally 1 week later after this incident, the same goddamn thing happened again. Okay. The same UFO was seen messing about above DC, and it was again picked up on radar. But this time, these objects were so fast that when they got the jets scrambled, couldn't keep up with them. And like outran them, like these objects easily outran any attempt to chase them. And to explain that, estimates of the UFO speeds during this second incident were clocked at ranging between 1150 to 7,000 miles per hour.
That's pretty fast.
That's fucking fast, boy. I'm fast as fuck, boy.
And airplanes, like, I mean, because jets go a little faster because they're meant to, but like.
Can I take a guess at commercial airplane? Can I take a guess while you look it up?
Sure.
600 miles per hour. That's my guess.
They are, generally speaking, 547 to 575 miles per hour. Not bad. Pretty close.
But that also was really bad because if my guess was high at 600 and these things are going 1150 to 7,000 miles per hour on radar. Like what's a jet? How fast do you think even a modern jet? Like if you looked up like a modern jet speed, like I don't know, I'm on the military. I wonder how fast those are compared to the UFOs.
Yeah, let's see. I'm looking that up right now. Military jet speed mile per hour. The fastest we've ever pulled off was 4,520 miles per hour.
Woo! That's pretty damn fast.
Pretty good. 5 times the speed of sound. But keep in mind, that was like, they were going for the record, though. Like, average jets, let's see, capable about 1,875 miles per hour. That's kind of more of an average on jets.
Okay. And that's like modern, right? Like modern jets and stuff?
Yeah. Like that article that wrote that was in like 2016. So it's fairly, I don't imagine we did too much better from that.
Okay, so if we're considering the fact that this is 1952, now I don't know how fast jets went back then. Probably slower than they do now. Right. If I could take a guess, and they're still like just getting blown out of the water, even nowadays comparatively. That's crazy fast.
The UFOs 1,000 over 1,000, and that's on the low end. That's the lowest it goes. So 7,000 miles per hour is almost double our fastest speed record ever. So
and that's retarded. Yeah. That's retarded fast. That's like, and they're probably just fucking with us at that point.
What is the speed of light?
It's how fast light goes.
Yes, I know that, but let's see, miles per hour. Okay. I thought for a second, like, dude, are they like light speed already? No, speed of light is 670,616,629 miles per hour.
Yikes.
Cool. So, anyways, there's some physics for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it.
Now, since the first appearance of these UFOs at the Capitol, it took everybody by surprise, like we said, right? Nobody was expecting any of that shit to go down.
Yeah.
But the investigators at Project Blue Book were ready for another one now because the first one passed and they were like, we're not going to be taken by surprise again. So during the second sighting that we're talking about, they were waiting for him. The investigators at Project Blue Book took immediate control over the control tower at DC Airport and again saw the radars for themselves, all the activity on it. They saw the jets being scrambled. They saw the UFOs. They saw the chase. They saw all of it. They saw all this stuff with their own eyes. But despite that, the team still had no clue what could have caused this, and it seemed to be otherworldly.
Whoa.
Now, the show describes the president at the time, Truman, as being a pretty calm guy, like calm and collected, kind of a groovy guy, right? And in most videos you see of him, he does seem kind of chill, right?
Cool.
However, after the second strange UFO sighting above what is basically his home right now, he got kind of pissed, naturally. And he called the director of the PBB and himself and was like, yo, what the fuck's, what's up, man? WTF, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is why, the jets were scrambled so quickly after the second one, is because first the PBB was waiting and ready. And also the president was pissed off and called in it about, himself and was like, yo, get these guys off my lawn. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm trying to sleep. I'm trying to not have sex with my wife.
Yeah. You awake, honey? But the show continues and talks about how this is a pattern. And I agree with them. We see these UFOs pop up near or around important places. Jets are scrambled, and every time we are outran and outmaneuvered by these objects. It's a pattern that has continued to happen to this day, as we've seen with these recent reveals, right, from the Navy that we were talking about. And we're still seeing them move dummy fast and outmaneuvered.
Yeah, interesting. And like you said, there's a lot of dots to be connected, a lot of similarities, which is interesting.
Very interesting indeed, my friend. So let's think about the time period we're in for a second, right? During these two White House UFO incidents, we are basically in the beginning of the Cold War, and the tensions are high. Or not the very beginning, but we're about 4 or 5 years in to the Cold War, and tensions are high, naturally.
Right.
And there are unidentified crafts hovering about the Capitol like it ain't shit. It's very sketchy. So, of course, people are going to be on high alert. Like maybe they think it's the Ruskies, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of finger pointing.
So later that same month, on July 29th, 1952, because of hysteria that has been coming to fruition with these two sightings, a press conference was held at the Pentagon. And the Netflix show tells us that this is the largest press conference held at the time since World War II. So it was kind of a fucking big deal at the time.
Oh.
So during this press conference, Major General John Alexander Samford and other high-ranking military officers spoke to the public about the recent sightings at the Capitol. He talks about how these sightings are not related in any way to any government or military projects. Now, this is a big thing here because he also has big balls. He plops them onto the podium during this press conference and just straight up tells the people that these things have been seen in the sky dating back to even biblical times. Like he straight up says that.
Cited the Bible, huh? Fall into that.
Yeah, dude. But he's not saying that it's a weather balloon, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's good and bad.
Yeah. He says that there are credible people seeing incredible things, which I think is a great line. I think that's dope.
Ooh, credible people seeing incredible things.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, this marks the first time that military and government officials admitted to the public that actual UFOs with superior technology were within the Earth's atmospheres, and we didn't know what they were. The first time, and definitely one of the few times in our history until recently, at least, I would say. So this was a big occasion. Now, a little bit of speculation time from our end. These sightings at the White House were bold, right? As far as what the aliens did go. They were, in my opinion, sending a message. And again, think about the time period. It was during the Cold War and only about 7 years after World War II, right after we nuked Anime Town, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, we have this connection between nuclear activity and aliens making their presence more known to us, right? Is it a warning, perhaps?
Well, and that's a good point of speculation of, is it a warning? Is it you're almost there? Is it it could be a warning. It might not be a warning. It might be more of just like a green light for all we know. Or because it was a big fiery ball, maybe it was one big fucking red light of stop that shit now.
Exactly. And there is a case from the Blue Book, Project Blue Book, coming up later that we'll go over briefly. And it might help to answer that question, but we'll see.
Ooh, okay.
The show goes on to talk about how UFOs are often sighted near military bases which house nuclear weapons. In fact, two documented cases. In two documented cases, the activation sequence, right, that elaborate one that is needed for you to be able to unleash nukes, like nuclear missile silos, had been tampered with by an outside unexplained force, let's say.
That's not good.
That's not good. That's no bueno.
Yeah. Well, and also too, I know we speculated on this before, but maybe also another reason military bases tend to be the center of UFO activities because they're the only ones who have active monitoring surveillance tools to be able to pick them up in the first place. It's not like we have military grade radar built in with every townhome or something.
That's true. I just feel like these UFOs are getting they're hyper focused on the nukes. I think there's something going on with the nukes. I think, and I don't know what it is. Like we said, we don't know if it's a warning. We don't know if it's like a, hey, pat on the back, keep going. You're going to have unlimited energy soon, that kind of shit. But
yeah,
I don't know.
We don't know.
They then talk about the fact that UFO sightings just kept coming. Both military personnel and the general public kept on seeing things that they could not make sense of. And the stories got out despite the government's best efforts to either hide it or cover up certain situations. And that's why we're talking about it to this day, because the government can't silence all of us.
It sounds like to me like you were kind of dabbling on the fact that the government officials were kind of poking that we don't know what this is. Like this could there is an opening here for the public to say this is an alien, this is something from a different planet, and people went batshit immediately.
Yeah, and that's an interesting perspective to take on it. Definitely. I mean, at least they admitted they didn't know what it was, but they didn't say that they thought it was aliens.
Right, exactly. So I don't know. And governments, they're all about control. They're all about, and I mean, in America, people are supposed to be in control, but when the fuck has that ever been the case?
Never, man. Another Project Blue Book case brought up by the show takes place again in 1952, but this time it's in November. And for this one, we are going to a sadly named town called Desert Center, California.
Oh boy. Did you ever know about a town called Furnace Creek?
No.
Yeah, it's the hottest town, I think, on the planet, and it's right smack dab in the middle of Death Valley. And yeah, Furnace Creek, I think, had the recorded highest temperature on the planet Earth.
Dude, why would you live there, though?
That's a very good question, but yeah, it's like a small little community. Let me see, what's the population of Furnace Creek population? Oh, there's 108 people who live there.
Ah, so what are they, camels or?
No, just I imagine very sweaty people or genius air conditioner constructor guys.
Dude, I bet you rent is super cheap over there.
Oh, I can imagine. Like, oh, dude, I bet it's like dirt cheap. Like, there's a bunch of pictures of people like next to like the thermometer thing, like with like 130 degrees, 55 degrees Celsius. Like, yeah, warning extreme heat danger signs and everything. It sounds like a fun place to raise some kids.
Let's see. I'm looking at some pictures. Oh, yeah. It looks like hell on earth. It really does.
Yep.
So we are in Desert Center, California, 1952 again. And this story centers around a man named George Adamski. I forgot how they pronounce it in the show. Adamski. I don't know. I'll just call him George.
Cool.
So he and 6 of his friends were out in the desert stargazing one night, as you do in the 50s. Nothing gay at all about that.
Nope, not in the slightest.
They first saw a cigar-shaped object in the sky. Okay, maybe this was Freudian and gay. I'm not sure.
Yeah. He can't keep getting away with this.
So as they watched on, it appeared as if the object had landed in the distance. So everybody at this point was kind of pooping their pampers because they weren't sure what it was, except for our boy George. The most curious of the bunch, it seems.
Pretty alpha, too.
Alpha, that's a big dick move. He's like, oh, you pussies don't want to check it out? I'll be right back. You know what I mean?
Okay, so cool. Well, I like this guy so far.
Yeah, he pulls his trousers up after his boys give him a hand job, and he walks over to this UFO.
Does it in stride, too. What a cool guy. So
he left the group, starts heading off in the distance where it looked like the craft had landed. His friends stayed back a ways, but George, he wasn't at the craft long when he got there, so they couldn't see 100% what he was doing, but they could still kind of see him approach this metallic thing. Minutes later, they see him coming back. That he approaches as he returns, and all he really says is he has a message from the visitor within the UFO.
Damn.
The ET, the extraterrestrial in the UFO, was named Orthon, and they were from Venus. They were Venusians. Orthon warned George of the imminent danger of nuclear war.
So they're hippies.
So they're a bunch of goddamn hippies, and it was a warning. That might be the answer to our speculative question. Is it a warning? Is it a pat on the back? It might be just warnings being like, hey, we look how far we've progressed, and we've never blown each other up with nuclear weapons. Or look how far we've progressed because we stopped doing that.
Yeah, and I could see it too of maybe when they invented nuclear fusion or whatever the fuck, splitting the atom, all that. They were like fucking awesome, like power source, like let's use it. And then when they see, oh, humans are starting to figure it out, and then we use it to blow people up, they're like, oh, you can do that too, huh? Oh boy.
Hey, no, that's not what it's meant for. Hey,
yeah, you're using that wrong.
Why do you think Venus is uninhabitable now, asshole?
Yeah. All right, I could see that. I could see that more as a warning then.
But as a cool little side note here, does not very important to the story, but George said that the conversation with Orthon took place telepathically. So apparently some Venusians are telepathic.
Cool. And Telepathy would be cool. I think we need to. Well, we were talked about. Humankind does have the ability for telepathy. We just keep our third eye closed, right?
Yep. Yeah. Just because people like you, my friend, people like you.
Man, maybe if somebody ever made it work, I'd consider your practices of not showering, lemon juice, and
Meditation's really good for getting some of that out of there. That's more for your psychic a bit. That's more for like the psychic being able to connect with your pineal gland,
right?
Not as much as the physical calcification of it, right? That's what the shower and the lemon juice shots are for.
Right. Yeah. No more fast food either, because that stuff's got trackers in it or something, right?
Yep. They put microchips in tomatoes these days, so you gotta be really careful.
Tomatoes, huh?
That's why you get no tomatoes. If you go to Wendy's, ask for no tomatoes.
Are you just making things up?
No,
now?
I swear to God, it's true. I do not get tomatoes on my burgers or whatever at fast food because when they say GMOs, it's not genetically modified organisms. It's granulated microchip opportunities.
And that's when the lawyer hits pause. See, Your Honor, this is why my client could not have committed the crime in any sane state possible.
I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out. I'm telling people what they need to know. Okay.
All right. I feel educated. Thank you.
You're welcome. No tomato.
No.
But again, we are seeing that warning of nuclear war and activity. So I think it is a warning. I think that's the correlation that we're seeing. And because of this incredible encounter, Project Blue Book director Rupelt, the guy we talked about earlier, and his scientific advisor, our boy J. Allen Hynek, took interest in George and his encounter. But after this incident, UFO stuff started getting hot, right? People were seeing more and more UFOs, and they were reporting more of it. Newspapers were kind of reporting it and making fun of it, that kind of shit. But it was getting hot. And the fact that people were they were unexplained made some people panic, and the military doesn't like it, and the government doesn't like it when their people start to panic and fall out of order because they're all about control and order.
Yeah, exactly. Hard to control the people when they're not even. When mob mentality is so fucking real, dude. Like, it's one of those, like, you are not immune to propaganda. Same thing as when you're part of an angry mob. You are a part of the angry mob. It is just, you are just moving.
Exactly. And also think of it like this, right? If tomorrow we wake up and the government doesn't tell us, but we all see we're being invaded by aliens, or aliens come down in like every major city in the US or in the world and like make contact. And do you think that anybody's going to fall in line with what our local government has to say anymore? No.
Dude. Oh, if an alien race wants to invade us, they already have the advantage of just the hysteria of their own existence. Like, preparation is almost besides the point. The fact that they're real and are coming in to kill us, like, that's just, we're already like, it's like already half our population gone.
Yeah, because we're a bunch of monkeys. We're going to kill each other and we're going to freak out, and it's ridiculous. So that's why the government doesn't want us looking too much into it. That's why they don't want us reporting this shit and seeing the things that we're seeing.
Yeah.
And they're pissed about it. So in 1953, the Air Force started putting new policies in place for Project Blue Book, basically stating that if what PBB was investigating could not be identified as conventional aircraft or explained in general by the Air Force, it was to go through a different secret process and was not to be released to the public. So they were basically flat out hiding stuff from us in an attempt to cover up some of these sightings and encounters near the end of Project Blue Book's lifespan. And that's why in the beginning of the show, I said that I think that Project Blue Book started off with good intentions. I think that they started off, what is this? Is it aliens? I don't know. Let's find out. Now, at the end of Project Blue Book, they're all like, if it sounds like aliens, don't tell anybody about it. So they are hiding it.
Yeah. So Project Blue Book, in a way, it was like it was how we kind of got the modern way of how a government deals with extraterrestrials and the speculation of it. It started off as, a curiosity of, oh, this might be cool. And yeah, people might be into it, but it ended up being just a fucking chaos bomb. So the whole point of Project Blue Book started off as how do we articulate this information to the public in a way that's digestible, to Project Blue Book is about shutting this shit down and keeping it under lock and key as much as possible because it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were, of course, in the beginning, they were still looking for conventional explanations. Like, was it a weather balloon? Was it an aircraft that we use? Like, is it something that was misidentified? But in the beginning, it seemed like they weren't afraid to say, and tell people that. Like, they'll be like, I don't know what it is. It could be an alien, I guess. But near the end, anything that seemed like that, they would just shut down. They would just be like, okay, so that's not getting released. Tell them it's a weather balloon, you know?
Crazy.
So the show then talks a bit more about the famed Project Blue Book director, Edward Rupelt, some more. A little bit about him. He was a decorated World War II pilot, and he coined the term unidentified flying object. So that's where we get that from.
Nice.
After his time at PBB, he wrote his own book called The Report on Unidentified Flying Objects. And this book gives a behind-the-scenes look at military investigations of UFOs between 1947 to 1955, basically his whole run there. And it's very, I mean, I've looked it up a little bit. I've never read it, but it looks very interesting, and you can still find it today.
Crazy. So it's wild how the 90s itself, not even the 1900s as a whole, is what sort of set up this modern day like understanding and system of like extraterrestrials and like what's covered up, what's not, the idea of the government being involved, the idea of like all that just seemed to happen in like the span of like 100 years, which is very interesting because that's the years that we tend to not improve but advance technologically the fastest.
Yeah, doesn't see no, there's no such thing as coincidences, my friend, because yeah. How do you think we got those technological advances? We've talked about this, dog. We've made deals with these little fucking gray assholes.
My favorite, this might be a good t-shirt too, is the Roswell aliens gave us Wi-Fi or something.
Yeah. Thanks for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Thank you, Roswell, for the Wi-Fi. It's very handy, although direct connection is a lot safer for browsing.
Yes. Hey, remember, our sponsor today is NordVPN. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know.
Use the code UFO.
In the beginning of Project Blue Book, it seemed, now again, this is for the show now, kind of backing up what I'm thinking. It seemed that Rupelt and his men, his investigators, were actually looking at these cases with the idea that they could be aliens in mind. Never really sweeping the option under the rug, but at least they were, they didn't want to outright deny it or hide it, that they didn't know.
Right. Yeah. We didn't get a hard no, which is that's good.
Exactly. And it's what we want in something like this. And it's the closest we got to any kind of government or military funded thing. However, after he left, in the latter end of PBB's life cycle, the project seemed to be more about finding literally any other answer to UFOs other than aliens, okay?
Well, I was like if you listen to our UFO report episode, more or less, that's what they are still doing to this day.
To this very day, all right? It is those, oh my God, that was such an infuriating report. Look, I'm just surprised they didn't mention swamp gas, all right? That's one of the favorite, like, fucking disinformation agents love saying that, dude. Oh, it was swamp gas. Do you even know what swamp gas is? You know?
The gas from a swamp?
Yeah. Tell me how that looks like a UFO, all right?
Yeah, or distortion on the lens, or it was a smudge, or blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, fucking God, it makes me so angry when I think about this.
Yeah, maybe you should infiltrate them instead of the Taliban and see if you can get some inside knowledge.
I don't know, man. Now if we're talking about me infiltrating our own government, that's going to get us shut down. And they're going to be knocking on my door saying, no, we heard this podcast and I want to confirm that this was you talking. I was like,
Is this you? Is this your speech pattern? Is this?
So I will say for the record, no, I will not do that.
Yep. That's a terrible, I trust our government.
Yeah. And you should too.
Yep, everybody do exactly as you're told.
Pay your rent and do your taxes, all right?
Oh boy. Well, now that we avoided that bullet,
Literally, we almost got suicided.
quite literally, yeah. Oh, real bad, right in our own beds.
But then, of course, the show goes on to another important man in Project Blue Book and UFO history as a whole. Our bread and butter, our homie, J. Allen Hynek.
Yep, mad respect to this guy. He's the foundation of a lot of us.
He's the foundation of our podcast name because he created the Close Encounters, the J. Allen Hynek scale, right? The Close Encounters of the what kind?
He is kind of he's like the patron saint of our podcast.
Yeah.
If sci-fi extraterrestrial shit had like patron saints.
And do you know what's really dope too is on this documentary series, they interviewed his son. Was on there as a guest. That was cool.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Okay, so we have talked about Hynek in the past, right? You guys know we did the Hynek scale episode. I love that one. So, but I'll be just relaying what the show says about him here, because remember, this is about the Netflix show. So I will, if there's anything that overlaps, suck it.
Yeah. Getting a lot more aggressively with our listeners.
So he was a civilian scientist hired by the Pentagon to be a scientific advisor all throughout Project Sign, Grudge, and then eventually, of course, Blue Book. Then they go on to talk about how Project Blue Book was basically an attempt to make it look like they were trying to find out if these were aliens or not, and that they used Hynek as a respectable scientist to say that it's like a weather balloon or something. And that's why they gave him smaller cases, which they knew could easily be solved as something terrestrial and would keep him away from the bigger, harder to explain cases. So there is a theory out there, according to the show, that Hynek was being used. Well, I don't know if it's a theory. This might even just be truth, because I have heard something similar, where Hynek was basically being used, especially in the latter end during Project Blue Book, about being used to be the scientific face of this project, saying, "Hey, man, it's not aliens, all right."
So he was like the heel, kind of.
He was like what the government picture would be, the baby face. He is like coming out, being the hero that the military needed, saying, "Hey, guys, it was swamp gas." You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. And they needed a bright, shining, young
scientist,
thrilled, to be like, "No, everybody, it's okay. You are gonna be okay."
Exactly. Yep.
Damn.
So they did him dirty, and he eventually figured out that he was being used. And that is when he decided to dip out and started his own. Of course, we all know the ufology community shit that he's done. He's written books. He made the Hynek scale, all that stuff. So he did his own shit. All right.
Oh, yeah. Made his mark in history and became a true American hero.
Exactly. And one of the things that really turned him off from this whole thing is the fact that as time went on and he realized he was being used, he was curious, why the fuck was the Air Force not wanting answers? Like, they were either getting the answers they wanted and keeping it secret, or they were like not interested, don't want to know, tell them it was swamp gas.
Interesting. Yeah, that is kind of, it's like it's not that they're trying and fail, they just don't want to know. They're like, nope, fuck this.
Blocking it before it could even be researched. So
weird.
But now let's go on to another case from the show from Project Blue Book. And this one takes place in June 1959 in a place called Boyanai something in Papua New Guinea.
Mm-hmm.
How would you pronounce that?
Boyanai, Papua New Guinea.
Perfect. I think you did it perfect.
We'll see. Somebody's going to say something about it.
There were a group of missionaries at this location and at this time trying to convert basically a bunch of brown people to Jesus, like they do, right? In a remote location. And this group included a man named Reverend William Gill. All right. White, Caucasian, as you could imagine.
Yep.
He has nothing to do with the story. I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah. Good.
He was the first one to see and experience this insanely bright light around Mount Pooty in the distance. Now, okay, now you're laughing because of the way I spelt it in here.
Yeah, you spelled it Pooty as if it was like you did a pootie.
Now, here's the problem. I knew this was going to come up, and I'm ashamed. But here's the thing: in the documentary series, they just say the name of the mountain. They don't put it out as like a little infographic. So, and I was too lazy to look it up, so I typed in Mount Pooty, Pooty.
Yeah.
All right,
Gave it the old college try, huh?
Yep. I still hooked on phonics. Give me a break.
It was good for the giggle, though. I'll give you the credit for that.
So Father Gill and 30 other eyewitnesses there in that area saw a large disc-shaped object emitting a very intense blue-white light around this mountain. So naturally, they went up to it, and after this, he told the public on television, like on public television, what he and the other 30 people there had seen. And actually, in this episode of the show, they show a clip of him coming out on television and like talking about it. It's very interesting.
Ooh.
So they thought they saw beings, and this is one of the things he brings up in this interview clip. So they thought that they saw beings inside the ship, like they could see silhouettes when the light would go out, like when it would die down every once in a while. They thought they saw silhouettes of humanoids. And the following night, the same exact thing happened again. So when they went out there, Father Gill and the others actually waved at the craft, and they said that they swear to God they saw the silhouettes like wave back at them before they disappeared.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Or it could be a good thing. It could be like a, yo, what's up?
Hey, yo.
You know?
Well, because waves are generally considered friendly. That's generally like, we acknowledge you.
Yeah, it's like like an autist. You're just like waving around like this,
Something like that. Okay.
I'm just saying, people who still wave at other people, it's kind of retarded. All right, knock it off.
I think a lot of people still wave at other people.
Do they?
I think it's when you put your whole body into it, and it's just like, and yeah, okay, maybe if you're doing it that way, there might be a confusion of special education.
Right.
But I think waving is very much considered to be a acceptable greeting for most people.
Okay, I'm sorry to judge anybody out there still waving. See, you're waving at me.
Yeah, it's not bad, and that's a good way to get somebody's attention.
Hey.
And it's always like, when people wave and it's like not for you, but they're like right near you and they almost make eye contact with you, and that's really awkward.
Yeah, so avoid it and just stop waving at people. Just text people like a normal person,
Yep, exactly. Just be as antisocial as possible with your socialization.
Okay, so that's the story of Papua New Guinea or whatever. All right, whatever the fucking whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, Papua New Guinea.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what goes on over there. I don't even know where that is. What is that, in South America? Oh, you don't know either? Oh, okay. You can't make fun of me.
Okay, I'll take that hit. But Papua New Guinea is it's in the Southwest Pacific. It's above right above Australia.
Above Australia. Wow.
Yep. So a little upside down over there, because they're on the other side of the planet. It's land down under.
That's right. And they got spiders, and they got toilets that go the other way, and their water comes. They have to have faucets that the water shoots out of from the bottom, because it comes, So then the show moves forward a bit to talk about what is known as the Condon Committee, not condom. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, you got to specify that a little clearer.
Condom with an N at the end instead. Condon Committee. All right. See, here's some background on it. The Air Force did not like Project Blue Book for whatever reason. Okay, like we've discussed before, they don't want to know the truth, or at least they don't want us knowing the truth. There's something going on there. They've never really liked Project Blue Book.
Yeah.
So, what better way to try and get away from being able to finally, or getting to the point where they can finally shut it down, than getting some disinformation out there to get people's curiosity off of UFOs? Because once there's less like scrutiny from the public, they could probably shut down Project Blue Book.
Yep. Get them focused on something else. Get them mad at something else and hating something else.
Yeah. So, one of the biggest bouts of disinformation that sprang out of the Air Force was that in the late 1960s, the Air Force commissioned the University of Colorado to do a quote-unquote actual scientific study of the UFO phenomenon. Okay. Now, I don't have to tell anybody this. I don't have to tell you this, Tasker. But of course, this was a rigged, quote unquote, experimentation and study. And the answer from the university was meant to get the attention off of the UFO subject.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Edward Condon from the University of Colorado ended up finishing this so-called study and determined and announced falsely that we would not be visited by extraterrestrials for at least another 10,000 years.
So he just made up a number,
Yeah.
and then just called it a day and just took like 2 weeks off of just drinking, I don't know,
White
whiskey out of a
Russians.
coconut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, it was a big number. 10,000 is a big number. Okay.
White Russians are not half bad, though.
I love them.
Yeah.
You know, partly creamy.
Yeah.
Like alcoholic jism.
But one could say, but yes. Did you hear about, did I send you that it's a drink where it's like white rum and vodka, I think, or something, and then you do like 3 drops of Bailey's Irish cream, so it looks like cum in water.
There's nothing more appetizing to me than cum and water.
And just shooting it down your throat in a rapid moment, huh?
Oh, buddy, don't even get me started. Oh, you're gonna remind me of yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
I made an alcoholic beverage and I did not give a blowjob.
Ah, good for you, man. That's interesting.
All right, so in the 1950s, something known as the Robertson Panel was created. Basically, it was a bunch of scientists being put together to create a report saying that UFOs are probably fucking weather balloons or a smudge on my fucking radar or whatever the kids are saying, right?
Right.
And they're basically telling UFO nerds to fuck off. So that's what the Robertson Panel was created for. They're basically trying to put an end to this UFO bullshit for one reason or another.
Yeah. And just to reiterate, half the reason they did it wasn't for lack of curiosity. It was for pursuit of control, because when people get to dream, they get to be more independent, and they don't like that.
They don't like it, man, because I dreamed a dream that life would be, you know?
Yeah, sort of.
From Les Miserables.
Oh, never saw it.
That's dumb. All right.
Yeah. Cool.
According to the government, it was supposed to be a one-time report, the Robertson Panel, but through the years, it became a sustainable way to make fun of UFO investigations and make them seem like ridiculous, non-credible, and its propaganda is one of the reasons UFO enthusiasts today are laughed at, actually.
And imagine being paid to do that, to just totally just like make other people like what's the word, not disqualify them, but like, make them disreputable.
Yeah, you're basically gaslighting generations to follow. Right? What a bunch of fucking assholes. And now I have to deal with it.
That's wow, quite a career path to set for yourself, huh?
Yeah, I hope they're happy. I hope their families are happy with their legacies, their dumb legacies.
Hope they're enjoying that pension, huh?
Project Blue Book was officially shut down in 1969. And in 2015, the archive was made available to the general public. But, lottie frickin' da, wouldn't you believe it, that the archive, when released, was incomplete.
Of course they're not going to give us the fully disclosed version. No, they got to edit it first. That's why it took so long to release it.
Yeah, dude, we were waiting for PBP 2 when we were still only just getting DLC for the first one. It was fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Waiting for that electric boogaloo.
But thankfully, a UFO researcher named, I can't fucking speak today, bro. I'm hungry.
Yeah, almost there.
Thankfully, a UFO researcher named Rob Mercer made a discovery of many previously undisclosed PBP case files, like hard copies of them, like paper files.
Ooh.
Now, it's funny how we got his hands on this. Basically, he saw a classifieds listing in the newspaper, and it was like, yo, former military officer, have some old military file boxes if you collectors out there want it or whatever. Saw it, got it, turned out to be old fucking previously unreleased Project Blue Book files.
Damn, and they thought they got rid of it.
Yep. So boom, he gets it, releases a bunch of new case files, ones that are much more unexplained as you can imagine, because it's ones that were usually not released to the public. So here is one of those cases that the show discusses from this box. So it's April 1964, and fuck. Why can't we just have like white people named towns, dude? I'm tired of this shit. Socorro? What do you think? Is that Socorro? Socorro?
That looks like Socorro.
All right, Jesus, man.
Well, I mean, if with the 2 R's, technically it could be Socorro.
Okay, I'm not rolling any R's, all right?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
So, Socorro, New Mexico, in 1964. Police officer Lonnie Zamora was out and about in his black and white. He then began to pursue a speeding driver around 5:45 p.m. on the highway. When on the horizon, about half a mile away, he saw a flash of what looked to be like a fire or an explosion or something that he described. Now, he knows that there is a dynamite store somewhere around, not like store like you go in and buy dynamite, like it's a place where you store dynamite, you know?
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear for people out there who like all the Ted Kaczynskis out there, like, oh shit, you could just buy that? I've been making it this whole time, you know?
That's a good, smart thing to clarify.
Thank you. There was a dynamite store nearby. He was afraid that something happened and that shit went off. So he let the speeder get away and begins to head off the road towards the flash of light he saw.
Right.
When he got to the area, he sees a metallic object. And now at first, he thought a car was out there and had overturned or something. But as he got closer, he realized that it definitely was not a car. It was like an oval-shaped object with like these 4 weird, thin legs that it was resting on. But as he gets closer, the object begins to rise, and he does not see the flash of light again. The only thing he sees is a blue and orange flame beneath the object as it takes off the ground, like a rocket, kind of, but smaller, more precise.
Right.
Doesn't know what it is, decides to dip the fuck out of there, but as soon as the object was high enough, the fire propelling it ceased, and it simply just floated silently and quickly away from the scene.
So yeah, that's the moment where we're like, yep, this is above my pay grade. Time to wish I just kept on pursuing the speeder.
Yep. He's like, God damn it, man, I could have caught that guy and been at a donut shop by now. You know what I mean?
Yep. Just could have looked the other way, but nope.
So J. Allen Hynek actually met with Officer Zamora to hear the story firsthand and determine his credibility. Hynek seemed impressed with the account that he heard. He also determined Zamora to be credible. His story was consistent upon multiple tellings to different people, and he seemed to be slightly traumatized from the experience, which I know it sucks, but it's also a good thing to see because usually that means somebody saw something.
Right. That means, yeah, it wasn't just some speculation, like something really bad happened.
Yeah. Now, the show then talks about the official conclusion of Project. Good Lord. Project sounds like a show on like the fucking the fashion channel.
It kind of does. Project, is it just like a bunch of bros that try to pimp out their buddies?
Oh, well, I was picturing more of like a bra show, like where you create like brassieres.
That does sound a lot more like that. Okay, all right.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm thinking like a lady, you know? Irrationally.
Think about one eye on the UFO, the other eye on the titty, huh?
Hey, buddy, you know me. Just kidding. Ladies are great.
Yep.
All right, we wouldn't be here without them.
Very true. We need them
biologically.
Yeah. Nice hole you're digging.
All right, let's get out of the hole. I'm kidding. All right, it's fine. I've always, whatever. All right, so the show talks about the conclusion. And now here's the official conclusion that Project Blue Book gives at its termination. There is no, and now this isn't a quote, but this is me paraphrasing. There is no evidence indicating that UFOs are extraterrestrial, and that pretty much everything that we've seen is like swamp gas, weather balloons, or some of it's unexplained, but we'll never tell you.
Yep.
Now, in the scientific community, This is what we call an actual crock of shit, okay?
Well said.
In the end, PBB determined that 21.5% of investigative reports could not be identified. That's a lot, okay? It may not seem like a lot, but it is a lot. That's a lot of unidentified shit going on around our military bases in the sky.
Yeah, that's almost that's almost 1 in 4 cases are just completely unidentified.
Right. Exactly.
That's not good. It's not good.
However, despite the high number, the government and military refused to look into it any further, give any more funds to like research any of that stuff. It's like I said, they don't want to know or something. Either way, it's either that or they have, and they know exactly what's going on. They know which alien species we're seeing and working with. But of course, they're not going to tell us that. So it's one or the other. But that's what I believe on my end, at least. Like, we all know what Nick thinks. We all know that Nick thinks that we've been in cahoots with at least like 2 or 3, like in regular day-to-day basis cahoots with 2 or 3 alien species since like at the late 40s.
Well, and I almost feel like a counter explanation on that is it's the control thing. It's the whole like maybe they have, maybe they haven't. And the fact that they haven't, maybe they're annoyed about that because they're like, shit, we totally could use that, but how do we make them think that we did without actually doing it? And then wrangling it and adding more mystery to it makes them look more, like we said before, like, makes them more mysterious, makes them more, like a force to be feared. And, I just think it's less complicated than it seems. I think the government itself, it's just like they see the hysteria and they're trying to use it and control it, or more of the fact that you're saying they're just trying to squash it all together is because this doesn't benefit our interests. There's nothing, we can't use it. We tried to poke people with this hysteria to control them. It didn't work. So we just want nothing to do with it.
There are different perspectives to look at. I still think that we are working with aliens. We have been, but look, you can look at it as any way you want, buddy. All right. This is a free country still. All right. The Taliban have not made it here yet. So until that point, you can believe what you want to believe. All right.
And if episodes like these suddenly start being deleted, then you know that America is currently being attacked by the Taliban.
Yes. Yeah, man. Don't worry. I'll infiltrate them and make their organization implode before that happens. Don't worry.
There you go. We have nothing but the highest faith for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
And just so you guys know, this is the end of the episode generally, but just know that this 21.5% was out of 12,618 official UFO sightings, which were reported and looked at by Project Blue Book. Almost 13,000.
Fuck, that's a lot.
So it is a lot. There's a lot of shit going on in the sky that's unexplained and nobody's batting an eye. Like now, I guess they are, but like from this point of when we had Project Blue Book and Project Sign and Project Grudge, all the way up until like last year, everybody's just been like, anybody who believes this shit's fucking retarded, Now they're talking about it on 60 Minutes. Yeah, okay. Nick's been here since 3rd grade. You guys, God damn it.
It's just like when all the Marvel kids, like, who grew up on the comics, got bullied for it, and then now like Marvel movies are like more popular than ever. They're like kind of like, okay, it's just I've been here this whole time. And then when they say, well, I read the comic, they get bullied again.
Yeah, like fucking nerd. Source material. Oh, brother.
Boo. Who has time for that?
But okay, so that is, in a nutshell, if you will, the first episode of the show. Now we're going to get into the portion of the episode where I try and convince Tasker to watch this shit.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I got to ask, as an avid follower of the UFO community and its goings on, do you think they did a good job of, organizing and explaining their information in a way that you felt was accurate and respectful to your beliefs?
100%. And that was going to be one of my main points here. Look, the show told me nothing new. Okay. But with that being said, there was no speculation on their end. It wasn't like it wasn't like Ancient Aliens, right? Where fucking that Greek guy comes in or whatever. And he's like, they're talking about how like, Machu Picchu was made by, people from Uranus and because of all this bullshit. No. It was like, which is maybe true. I don't know. I just made that up. But no, it was like they give you the facts because literally the episode I watched was nothing but facts. It was all released information, actual case files from Project Blue Book, and they laid it out in a narrative form that made it easy for the general public to digest. And I think they did a fantastic job with that.
Okay, yeah, because definitely shows like Ancient Aliens are kind of like a little campy, like on purpose, whereas this one, it seems like it's actually almost taken it a little seriously.
Absolutely. No, they definitely took it seriously. And I really enjoyed the fact that they had interview audio and interview video clips of people from these case files that they dug up. Like that police officer who saw the one in the desert take off. They had audio of an interview with him in the documentary. They had all kinds of shit. It was awesome.
Wow. They did their research and they pulled something off that's impressive, I see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for the general public, it's a great show. For UFO aficionados, it may not be your cup of tea because it's, like I said, I've watched the first episode. I didn't really get told anything brand new to me. Anything at least that stood out. But for the general public looking to get more information about ufology and its history, I highly recommend it because of the way they did it was very respectful.
Cool. Now, in terms of production value, is it cool, flashy, entertaining?
It's interesting. They did a mix. So they did these really cool, elegant looking interview when they had guests on, right, to talk about the show itself. Not the interview from like the past with the case files, but actual interviews with modern people. Very elegant looking, nice production. And then when it came to recreating case files, they didn't do like cheesy dramatizations of like actors, right? They actually did like a strange choice. They did CGI. It didn't look the best. It looked like a PlayStation 2 cutscene, but there was a quaintness about it that I appreciated.
Okay. Well, so then overall, sounds like good show. Would you say it's a must watch, or is it just it's just good?
It's good. I'm going to say for those of you who are already balls deep in the UFO community, watch it if you want, but you're at least this far in, because this is only going off episode 1. I'm not learning anything new, and you probably won't either. But for those of you looking to learn more about the history, I would watch it.
Okay, cool. And then now make up a ranking system of what you would rate it.
Okay. So my new ranking system is going to be out of 6 thigh-high stockings, striped ones.
And how many thigh-high stockings did it earn?
I give it 5 thigh-high stockings.
Damn, out of 6. Not fucking bad. And I like the interesting number usage. I feel like that's a nice change of pace.
Yeah. I figured there should be a middle ground,
Yeah, exactly. How unique and well done. I think that was our first review, huh?
That was it. I hope I convinced you to at least watch the first episode. It was very well done, man. If not for the content, watch it for that intro sequence because it was fucking baller, dude.
Cool. All right. Well, I might actually check this out when my seasonal animes are over, possibly, or I don't know. This is my last week before I'm back to class, so I don't know. I'll probably, if I watch it, I'll let you guys know on the show.
Awesome. And so that's pretty much it for the episode. I think I convinced them to do it, boys and ladies. So I did it. I think this was a success. So thank you for listening. But hey, Tasker just said he's starting school next week. And so am I. All right. We're both going back to school together. We're going to pack each other's lunches. Okay.
Yep. If we lived in the same anywhere close, because you live in a remote nowhere. So it almost makes me wonder if what this quote unquote school is that you're going to.
So it's like an old church. And the only teacher there is a nun. You can't call her professor because she gets mad at that. You got to call her. Right. You got to call her
Sister?
No, she's a mother. Yeah, she's like
damn.
the head of whatever the fuck it is, a nunnery or whatever. So,
she's also accredited, so her degrees they're legit.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm going there for my degree in ruler spankings. So I wonder, I think I might be able to make a living with doing that.
Yeah, you might be performing in Vegas soon, for all we know, with your routines, especially with the anal beads.
Oh man, they'll love it. Oh my God. Pink socks swanging everywhere, baby.
Oh, good Lord. What a way to advertise your upcoming act. Just make sure, when you're in that audience, you could bet every single show you'll see in that hat tipped over his face, Count Chocula himself, you'll be in attendance, because if you have a popular platform, it's just going to be that much easier to monitor you. But in a way, that's kind of, but now we got him in a predictable pattern.
Yeah. And now here's the thing. I was curious as to why Count Chocula would want to go to one of my anal bead shows, right?
Yeah.
And it's generally because I think, and I have an idea, now hear me out.
Okay.
What if he feeds off of not only blood and the souls of children, but what if he feeds off of pink sock in particular?
Yeah, it could be like his weird otherworldly version of like a fetish, basically, where he's getting something out of it.
Because all it really looks like is a pink water weenie with like blood and fecal matter on it,
Fantastic imagery. But
so if you're going to eat that, what's wrong with you? Like, of course, like I think Count Chocula really is the epitome of evil because of the fact that he might sustain his life off of pink sock. Again, people, Google it. Look up what pink sock is, please.
I think you might be onto something there, but it's all something we're working on. Obviously Count Chocula episode, it's coming soon. We're working on it really hard, and putting ourselves in danger to put him in compromising situations, because he will be in danger with what we got to offer. But thank you so much for listening, everybody. If you're on iTunes, you can 5-star rate and review us. That would super, super help. Small written review, even just it's cool, would be a great review. And if that's all we get for the remainder of our show, sure. Spotify, you can click the follow button. We have new episodes every single Wednesday. Our Instagram is at CEOTPK. YouTube, Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. Enjoy it while it lasts. We're on 2 strikes. We're waiting for that third one.
Woo!
Eventually. Into this episode might be that one, so we'll see. Twitter is at CEOTPK1. Our Facebook is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. You can email us at CEOTPK1@gmail.com. Our Discord is discord.gg/lowercase b, number 6, capital C, capital T, number 5, capital M, capital X. If that link is a pain to type in, just go to our Facebook. We'll have all these links all there. You can also, if you want to donate, ko-fi.com/CEOTPK. That is our coffee account. Our own personal tip jar if you feel the need.
Yeah, but just remember, guys, you listening to the show and interacting with us on Discord or Facebook or whatever, that's a gift in itself, okay? Because it's like so sweet of you guys. Like, we love it when you join and you talk with us and you tell us nice things.
Yeah, we had a very very nice and proper discussion about pineapple on pizza the other night, which I was actually in the middle of a party during that, so I was a couple drinks in.
Well, I was fucking wasted too, but I'm not gonna sit there and let you just spout your weird like religious shit on Discord, like talking about pineapple on pizza, dude. Like, you can't get me started right now. Why'd you even bring it up? I almost forgot about that.
Well, I'm surprised you're so adamant. I had almost no support. You had everybody on your side.
I know, but you know what pisses me off the most is no matter how little people, I should say, you have on your side, you still just bring it up. It's just like, like you're a masochist. Like, you love it. Like, you love when I tear into you about this, man.
It's because I stick to my beliefs on this one. And you know what? Hey, if you can join this discussion on your own. If you want to go to our Discord, check it out. As you see, passions are very high, and people like to stick with what they believe in.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not even gonna. I have nope.
Not even gonna let this fly.
We can continue this on Discord if you want, man. But you can't just bring something up like that and expect me to just move on. But I will try, because I know we're on a time crunch. But my God, if we were not recording right now and you brought that up again, I would just be talking your ear off for like 2 hours about how fucking wrong you are.
That's why I brought it up at the end of the show. So that way the whole episode wouldn't just be a discussion. Then we're just doing a completely different podcast.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. My fucking blood pressure. Let's move on. Let's close this shit out.
Yep. We can end it off on a good note, huh?
Look, guys, whether you think that pineapple, a cooked fruit, belongs on pizza or not, the truth is out there.
The only truth you need to know is eat what you like, even if it is pineapple on pizza. It's not.
It's on my vaporwave cassettes.
You actually, it's very appropriate that you get them on cassette tape.
Got to do it, baby.